Recently, Nintendo YouTube has been a little bit dreadful. It's always been one of my favorite corners of the internet for my entire life, but I feel recently it's just been so negative. And one of the common things I've been seeing people complain about recently is the severe lack of games on the Switch 2. And to that I say, what are you talking about? We're only a half of a year into this console's life, and we've gotten 7 brand new first-party Nintendo games for the Switch 2, a few with Switch 1 versions, and 3 re-releases of Wii and Wii U games for the Switch 1. We've gotten GameCube games for Switch Online, and 4 Switch 2 upgrades for Switch 1 games that all range in quality. When back in 2017, with 3 more months added to the console's life, the Switch 1 got 8 brand new games in 2017, with games like Breath of the Wild and Fire Emblem Warriors being cross-platform. And on top of that, 2 Switch ports of Wii U games that people might look back on fondly now, but they're still Wii U ports at the end of the day. The huge difference here than where we are now were the 3DS games we were getting. We got 16 first-party 3DS games from Nintendo in 2017, which does sound like a lot, but a lot of these are smaller eShop or like compilation games with a couple heavy hitters here. But you also have to realize this was Nintendo coming off of their extremely lackluster 2015 and 16. They had to build these games up because they barely had a console with a player base. And the one they did have was at the very end of its life, and was basically being carried with its final send-offs as a console that were being made by smaller teams. And that's how Nintendo was able to have such an insane 2017 and 2018. Though I should mention 2018 really wasn't that insane. They got like 3 original games that year. But we have been getting insane games from Nintendo for years now. 2024 wasn't a genre-defining year from them, but we got plenty of great games to hold us over throughout the year, and especially in 2023. I'm not here to glaze Nintendo and act like everything's perfect. No, I think we do need more announcements for things to actually look forward to, and get people excited to buy the $500 console. But for the first 7 months of its life, I just kind of think the Nintendo community is a bit spoiled. This isn't the same gaming economy that we had in 2017. There's no E3 for huge spectacles of hype and speculation and huge crowds screaming for games. Random shadow drops on Twitter are becoming more and more normal by the day, sadly. And the era of us knowing the entire next year of what lied ahead of us are days of the past. But going back to the actual game output of Nintendo themselves, we got a completely brand new, beautiful, open world Mario Kart game, which, sure, you can pick apart in the comments and say how much better 8 Deluxe is, like we didn't tear Mario Kart 8 to shreds for like a decade until the booster packs finished up. Totally not just the Mario Kart cycle. But no matter how you feel about it, it's a huge game that took insane amounts of work from the developers and is an insane accomplishment of a game. We also got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a fully 3D Donkey Kong game and is absolutely oozing with charm and personality, and is also a game that people have been absolutely begging for years now. We then got Dragon Drive, which is just a cheap little $20 eShop game that's a very interesting basketball game that uses wheelchairs. It gives off the ARMS vibes. It's just not as fleshed out as that game is. But it's still a fun little time, and at least they're aware with the price tag. We also got Pokemon Legends ZA, which is also available on Switch 1, but it's not a Switch 1 first type of game. This game was released on both consoles on the same day, and it's insanely cool having Pokemon this early into the Switch 2's life. We also got Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which is very similar to Fire Emblem Warriors coming out the first year of the Switch 1. And we got Kirby Air Riders, an absolutely amazing, stunning game that really just speaks for itself and is bursting with quality. And finally, we got the long-awaited Metroid Prime 4, which, like I said about Mario Kart World, even if your opinion personally is negative on this game, that doesn't downplay the insane accomplishment it was to actually get this game out the door. While in comparison, in the first 9 months of the Switch 1's life, we got 1-2 Switch, which is a very fun game, but very gimmicky and very overpriced. It's still really neat, but they just went a little bit too far with it. We also got Zelda Breath of the Wild the same day, which is definitely the reason people remember this launch so fondly. This game is absolutely amazing, and is a genre-defining video game. But it did also release on the Wii U the same exact day, and that's not a problem at all. But if people are going to complain about Switch 2 games releasing the same day as Switch 1, then we have to apply that here too. But unlike the Switch 2, where we've been getting games monthly, we had to wait 3 whole months before we got our next original game, which was ARMS. An insanely unique game that's basically Nintendo's take on a boxing game. Wait a minute! But a month later, we would get Splatoon 2. An absolutely wonderful game that gave the Switch a very strong beginning with online games, along with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that also came out recently, but I'm not counting that as it's not a brand new original game. This also gave a lot of Switch users the chance to finally play Splatoon for the first time, which was insanely awesome. We also got Fire Emblem Warriors, which Warriors games are always very safe, fun, brain-dead games that are always nice to have and always fun to see getting a new release or crossover with a new series. And then, during the holiday season, we got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, a game I'm not very knowledgeable on, but I know the insane fan bases these games have, and how cool getting this game was. And finally, we got Super Mario Odyssey, an absolutely amazing 3D platformer that's an almost perfect game in every way. And overall, it was an absolutely amazing launch year looking back at it, but it's really not all that different than what the Switch 2 had during its launch year. We may not have had Breath of the Wild, but we had Mario Kart World, the first new Mario Kart on a console since 2014. We may not have had Mario Odyssey, but we had Donkey Kong Bonanza, a debatably more creative and unique game compared to Odyssey. We didn't get Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but we got a Metroid Prime 4. We didn't get a Splatoon 2, but we got a Kirby Air Riders. And we had a Warriors game both years. That's literally an equivalent for each game except ARMS and 1-2 Switch. And if that's the case, Dragon Drive and Pokemon, which debatably have more worth to them than the Switch 1 games. And on top of all of this, don't even get me started on third-party support. The Switch 2 launched with games like Cyberpunk, Street Fighter 6, Shadow Generations, Fortnite, Deltarune at the launch, debuting on the same day of the Switch 2. That's insane. While the Switch 1 had Super Bomberman R, Just Dance, Snipperclips. Okay, Snipperclips is a good-ass game. And Fast RMX. Definitely not a bad lineup, but you cannot look dead in my face and tell me that the Switch 1 had a better launch than the Switch 2. And on top of all of this, you can use your Switch 2 to play your entire Switch 1 library, in which multiple games have received brand new upgrades and additions. As someone who just didn't click with Breath of the Wild instantly for the first year of the Switch's life, I was basically using it to play Snipper Clips and Mario Kart 8, a Wii U game, until Mario Odyssey and Sonic Mania came out at the end of the year, and really gave me a chance to use the console that I loved. Meanwhile, in the first 7 months of the Switch 2's life, I've sunk 20 hours into Pokemon ZA, as I absolutely love X and Y, and even though it's not perfect, I'm still really enjoying it. I put 15 hours into the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, finally actually progressing in it and immensely enjoying it, and I put 13 hours into Mario Kart World. I'll admit, I've only played the game like twice the past few months, but this game did have me in a chokehold when it came out. And I put 5 hours into Donkey Kong Bonanza. I haven't beat it yet, but I am having an absolute blast, and really need to just fully focus on it and beat it, as it is an amazing game. And on top of everything, I've been playing Kirby Air Riders with my girlfriend, which is just an absolutely beautiful game. I haven't sunk a lot of single player time into it, but this game is just perfect 10 out of 10 Nintendo. Genuinely might be one of the best games they've released the past decade. I've also sunk plenty of hours into Shadow and Sonic Generation re-release on Switch 2, as if you give me a way to play Sonic, I will always buy and play it, as well as Street Fighter 6. I've also had so much fun playing the Switch 1 games that just simply didn't run good on the console, and seeing them in an entire new light, as well with the GameCube games. And all of these options simply just weren't here for me as a consumer when I got my Switch 1, as well as many other people who own the console. Your Switch 1 launch experience is pretty much based on how much you enjoyed Breath of the Wild. And I feel many people look back with these nostalgia-tinted glasses like everything was perfect. It really wasn't. The only difference is we knew what the future held. We were always being regurgitated information, and right now, we're just in a little bit of a dry spot, and I don't think it's gonna last very long. We currently have 5 first-party games announced for 2026, and we're only in February. Don't listen to your favorite Nintendo YouTuber saying that Nintendo is evil for releasing a new Fire Emblem game 3 years after the last game, in a series that's known for being consistent with releases since fucking Bush was in office. Just relax and don't stress about it. You'll get your new Punch-Out game. You'll get your new Mysterious Marusame Castle game. One day. All these things take time. Just stop listening to the YouTube leak slop. Stop listening to the YouTube fear-mongering. Just buy the games you like and skip the games you don't. It's as simple as that. You don't have to buy Metroid Prime 4 if you don't like it. And if you want to protest Nintendo for not releasing any games you like, then don't buy a Switch 2 until you're ready. I've talked about this topic enough, but if you have any opinion on this, please leave it in the comments, as I'm curious to hear other people's outlook on this situation. But thank you all for watching, and there's not gonna be a 3D Mario game in the next, 2 years. I'm sorry, Nintendo Land, it's over.